Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice. So what you got for us in terms of policy, Joe?
Yeah, so one of the things that's kind of in the foreground as far as policy and state law, Assembly Bill 1043, which is dealing with absentee voting. Currently in the state of Wisconsin, it's a 14-day period, and now they're going to move that to the Sunday before, so it's going to give folks a little bit more time to get those absentee ballots in. This is still, still being debated in the legislature, but would definitely open some doors to some more people getting access to voting.
So what do you mean? So absentee voting is a 14-day period. So extended?
Yeah. So under the current law, an individual voting at an election by absentee ballot may apply for an absentee ballot in person at the municipal clerk's office or an alternative absentee ballot site. An absentee ballot application made in person may be made no earlier than 14 days preceding the election. So they're gonna move that down to the Sunday before.
So it was usually from 14 days to the Saturday before, right? Or are they just adding an extra day?
It sounds to me like they're actually shortening that time period. They would like.
Wait a minute. Okay. So they want to shorten it to just the Sunday. Is that what you said?
Yes. So in other words, instead of having to have that absentee ballot in 14 days prior to the election, now you would only need to have an
absentee. I'm thinking about correct voting.
Yes, absentee ballot. So now you would be able to submit that the Sunday before instead of having to have it in 14 days prior to the election. So
that's an extension.
So it's a little bit of an extension. Yeah.
It's a 2-week extension.
Right. Well, yeah. Depending on when that Sunday falls, so it would be the election days of that Tuesday. So we're cutting that down to a couple days instead of 14 days and having to have that in.
Right, because I remember one of the things was a lot of folks overseas may have been mailing their absentee ballots in, and it's a longer time.
Right.
For postal delivery. So there were people who were mailing them in, and they weren't making it. They were time stamped, but they weren't necessarily making it in.
Correct. Anyways, so another piece of legislation that's up is some gun legislation. And I think, anybody that kind of paid attention to the news over the weekend, we had 8 people shot in the Milwaukee metro area over a 6-hour period.
Sure.
So there's, definitely something that's at the foreground of all of our communities here in Milwaukee County. I think it affects a number of our partners and some of the work that they're doing. So some important legislation. That's Assembly Bill 1051 that creates an Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and would actually start to involve community-based organizations into that discussion. So I think that's a really important piece to solving the gun.
On what level? On the city level? Is that they're talking about on the state?
So the way the bill's designed,
we just had an Office of Violence Prevention that just went to another area of the city. So they're going to try to open up and start it.
Right. Kind of at the state level, but they're going to focus more on the communities where gun violence is prevalent.
What bill is that again?
That would be Assembly Bill 1051.
51.
Correct.
And look at my Kia. I know it's winning. No, because I've been discussing this for quite a while because this is where we this is one of my passions, and this is the one I've been involved in over the years. And I've just been telling somebody that it's very hard for the city to handle that department, something as such, right? Because of the way it may need to be handled with the mediations and the interruptions, whereas you got the police department housed in the same government.
So it makes a person nervous.
Well, it's just the branches, it'd be like a conflict of interest within the same governmental branch. So I was saying it would be for the county or even the state But then we got to be careful with that too. I know Michelle will have a whole lot to say about that. But that's a good bill. So that's Bill 1051.
Correct.
And we're going to talk to Michelle Bryan about it. Oh, that's my girl.
Uh-oh.
Definitely.
But that's like I say, you got to look at what comes with it. Because
Right.
that's a way. We have some projects here that have kind of the reports have kind of been mediocre, close to failing in a sense, because it's very hard on one end to tackle what's most important, but then you have to almost be shot in order to get
out.
funds
Yeah.
for funders.
Yeah.
So how do we tackle that the proper way?
And then we got partners that really works in that field. Milwaukee Against Gun Violence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Janice Gordon is a beautiful partner of ours that actually works with those people that when their family members get shot, murdered, anything, she works with them step by step from the moment they get shot to helping bury anyone if they have to, and all. Help them get fundraising, show them how to basically get collections, because a lot of people in our community, they don't have insurance. Right, fundraise. They don't have insurance. So when your 18 or 16-year-old son gets shot, you got to figure out how to pay for that funeral. And she's really an advocate for our community, especially after it happened to her son. And she thought about it like when she first met me. She said, I wanted to be there for others because my mind wasn't there at the time, and I had to figure out how to get this money, go to these funeral homes. And it really is true, because it happened to me, not from murder, but from just a loved one passing away unexpectedly. And I literally had to, dealing with that, I had to go to different funeral homes, this one next door and a couple of them, to get prices. And I'll tell y'all one sad thing. I ain't gonna say the funeral home because I don't want to leave nobody in a bad taste, but I had to move my mother from one funeral home to another because they was just charging too much. And I had to pay them $11,000 for holding her. for holding her for 10 days.
Get back to you in a second, Joe. Sometimes that gets tricky because when they're holding, they'll hurry up and not answer the phone.
Yeah.
Just to do certain things to be able to charge you before you.
Yeah. So she's a very good advocate for those that is in need of somebody to be support for. She does great work in the community. We're gonna have her on.
Who's that? And what was the organization?
Her organization is Milwaukee's Victims of Gun Violence, and her name is Janice Gordon, and she does beautiful work in the community. And we're gonna,
as a partner of you also with the Village Group, I look forward to connecting with her to help get folks to her.
Okay.
I need
That's what she'll really do.
lift that load.
Yeah,
It takes a community.
it does.
A whole community.
And anytime, Keon, Toy here, she here
I know too.
to connect those.
Just turn the phone, call.
Yeah, she here. Just call me sometime to connect the different people to who. Matter of fact, what I am is a connector.
Give the folks a number for Wisconsin Voices with catch.
And hey, y'all can call Latoya at 414-488-4950.
One more again.
414-488-4950.
You know what?
But y'all can call here today at 414-444-5250.
Yeah. Or somebody just got their pen or their pencil. She talking too fast. So give it to that number one more time. No,
And I'm going to go slow. 414-488-4950.
You sound just like the operator on the phone. Back to you, Joe, with the policy. So that you had State Assembly Bill 1051.
1051, yeah. Just one more little piece about that. They do identify, some of the root causes of gun violence within the community, which go back to racism, poverty, political neglect, lack of affordable housing, food insecurity, unemployment, untreated trauma, and the evaluation of community conditions. So it sounds like it's a wide scope of different causes that cause gun violence within our community. So
I'll be looking out for that. I'm going to look that up and read it.
and one other thing, we talked a little bit about it. I think it was either last week's show or the week before. We talked about some of the AI and some of the technology that's kind of starting to move to the forefront of our community. One bill that's out there now that they're discussing is AI involved in campaign ads. So now this legislation would make it so that you have to have a disclaimer at the front and at the back of each campaign ad that if it was generated by AI in any way. So it's something we have to look out for.
Now that's great because that's not leaving the door open for people to fool people.
Yeah, you think it?
Yeah, they have to have a disclaimer.
Yeah,
That's good.
with today's technology, it can get really difficult for folks to really decipher between what's reality and what is
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. So having something like that in a disclaimer, I think, is really, really important, especially in our political process.
Yes, indeed. And one thing I did realize, because I picked over, matter of fact, the gentleman was in here, Aziz was all, Abdullah was here with Michelle one time, and he actually on air took her voice and created an AI spot where the voice sounded like her. So for people who are of influence, they can actually take AI interpretation of your voice and the way you talk and make people feel as though you're endorsing someone when you're not at your fan base. So that's a good catch.
Yeah.
And that's a good policy to make sure that they have to have a disclaimer, because a lot of people, and that's why I be telling people, don't look at commercial ads. Please, my community, don't look at commercial ads as a reference to a candidate, because that's actually just like a show. They're perpetrating what they want you to know. Please read, research, and look them up and find out that person's past, present, and future. And you can find that out.
Yeah.
Don't just look at a TV ad and be like,
We just had a candidate forum this past weekend within our community. So, going to those forums, going on the internet and going to these candidates' websites and seeing exactly what they stand for. Does it align with your values? Does it align with what you're seeing in your community? Being an educated voter is one of the most important duties you can probably do, and one of the best ways you can enact change within your community.
Right. And as Joe said, an educated voter. So don't just take a person and look at their face and be like, oh, I like them. They're nice looking. They're cute.
And I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The last cycle we were really engaged. And hopefully we can plan this for a future show. Maybe this week, 7 websites that are a necessity. I feel are not a necessity, but good for folks to look up candidates.
Okay.
Vote Smart, where they Vote Smart. Facts for All is one where you enter the politician's name or your address. If you enter your address, it tells you who's all in your district at what level. If you enter their name, and they have facts, they have 4 folders here: bios, votes, positions, ratings, funding. So on this one site, you get their bio, you get which way they voted in their
previous committees.
committees, their positions. You get sound bites of their speeches, all of them that they can find, that they have out there, their ratings and their funding. There also is another one called Vote Smart, Open Secrets. That's just 2 of the 7 where it follows the money of every campaign.
That's great. That's great.
Do that moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you, Keon. We would love to get those sites to get that information out to people. Well, be a smart voter. Actually be educated. Research these people. Do not just look at a commercial. And I think, to be honest, that's why our lieutenant governor didn't win, because he kept having that one commercial. My mother's a teacher. My father was a factory worker.
Oh, you talking about Peter Brown? That's my brother. That's my guy. You ain't my guy along with his Peter Brown.
Hey, that's my guy too, and I love him. And I wish he would have did something more to reach the inner city. I really do, because he was really reaching for that middle class white approach, where my mother was a teacher and my dad was a factory worker. It's a 2-income household, but you were you needed votes from people that was single parent household that's in the inner city that really didn't have that life. And if you would have did more of a commercial, that's why I said don't look at a commercial. Because he would have won if people would have not paid so much attention to that commercial.
I ain't gonna lie.
They kind of felt rejected.
We awesome.
Right. Mhm.
And you can add to that a little bit, you know, not voting just because, or voting for a candidate that just because a friend or a relative votes that way, or that they've always voted that way, and say, you know, my mom and dad or my grandparents or my friends are voting this way. I just feel like that's probably the best candidate. No, you really have to go out there and do your research and see exactly what these candidates stand for and do they align with my values.
It's always about you. So these policies you're talking about, are these policies that are or policies that are to be voted on?
These are still policies that are being debated and still being voted on. But, you know, that's our time to really be that voice. That's our time to call our legislators. That's a time to, you know, go inspect these candidates and really vet them to see if they're in line with some of the policies that are being put out there right now. So, yeah.
And that's what Joe is saying about be a voice. That's when you call your legislators and you're hearing about these policies. You call your direct legislators and let them know how you feel about these policies. If you support them or if you don't support it, but let them know how you feel. And a lot of these legislators, they don't hear from us. So when they hear from you, they take your voice very, very much in consideration because they don't hear from us. So this is the time to be a voice. Call your legislators and say, hey, I like this policy or I don't like this policy. But it's time for us in our community to start speaking up and being a voice.
And there are so many other pieces of legislation that are being proposed or, you know, on a constant daily basis. So staying informed as well, listening to The Voice on our radio show, and just trying to stay informed and up to date because, you know, I'm just bringing you a small portion of what's out there.
Yeah.
There could be other things that are more aligned with your views or your values that interest you a little bit more. So, you know, going on to the state legislator's website, seeing what they're putting out there, see what bills are being introduced, and staying informed and calling your legislator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So was that it on 1051?
That's it. Yeah.
What was the bill prior to regarding
Absentee voting, that would be Assembly Bill 1043.
1043. So thus far you talked about Assembly Bill 1043 and Assembly Bill 1050. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. This is more about having your voice out there. The whole time that we're on here, we're going to be informing you and keep you enlightened on policies, bills, what's going on at our legislator level so that we can be informed. We want our community to be completely informed. We want people to have that proper decision to where we'll give you a piece, but we're going to also keep giving you that information on how you can look it up and see every bill that they have in proposal. So, definitely, we want our community to be a voice.
Join us February 16th at 5 at the Bavarian Beer House for our Be a Voice Gala. Join us for a spectacular night as we gather to highlight the efforts and future of our community. Visit wisconsinvoices.org to learn more.
Catch Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio, every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. as we focus on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
This is Latoya with Be a Voice. I'm sitting here with my partner, my co-ride, Joe.
What up?
And we have as we stand,
Oh, your what?
my co-ride.
You rad. That's what I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Coming from the city.
Yeah. Yeah,
We in the car.
we in the car. And we kicking. I hope y'all in the car listening to this. No, no doubt. But as we said, we're gonna keep fluctuating with our partners. We have over 60 partners and continuing to grow. And today we have one of our amazing partners that work with the youth in the community and know how important it is to work with the youth and been doing it for a very long time. So I want to introduce our partner, Ralph.
Hello. How you guys doing? It's been a while, you know. I've been here since 1996, so I started mentoring.
Ready, way to talk a little loud.
Oh, am I too far? Am I too far away? He's like, well, I'm sorry.
You had to tell a phone stand for him, but somebody that walked off with it.
We're good. Sorry about that. Anyway, like I was saying, I've been doing this since 1996. Reggie White was my mentor, and so yeah, the Reggie White.
The Reggie White.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Baptized me at the Fister Hotel in the sky. And so what happened was I started mentoring these kids from Milwaukee through wraparound and stuff, and I realized that they needed a lot of different services that people weren't willing to take the risk, to do, getting them out of the community is one, okay? And so getting vans and having transportation for kids was an important thing, for me. And so I started mentoring kids, through Mentor Clubs of America. At the time, it was called Youth Leadership and Fitness. So I had this idea. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm from the inner city of Philadelphia. If I didn't really say that, but I got here way of $5. And when I met Reggie in 1995, he helped me transform my life. And I went back to college, played football, and did all that. But I got a degree in social work, and I knew that my passion was to work with young Black males, especially ones like myself. I came a rough way. I was locked up from 13 to 19. I was from foster home, reform school, everything that you think that would kill a man, I got to, experience that in life. But at the same time, I got to come back and try to save as many young guys as you can in that process, and so through life, I'm just glad that it's, Black History Month. And, I think what people don't understand, there's a lot of people out there that do different things, you don't know who they are, but they believe in the process of helping, heal the community. And one of the things that, you don't get to see as much as positive images of what it looks like to do that work. And so they keep that away from a lot of us. So you don't really know how to fix the problem. And so, that's my campaign, is positive images of what it looks like to mentor inner city Milwaukee kids. And so I put it together, put a lot of videos together. And so I think people need to, we're a video society, And so I've been putting hundreds of videos together since I started. So I got great images of what that looks like and why it works. And I, not from when the kid started, but when the kid, where he's at now, like, 'cause I got hundreds of thousands of kids, that you get to work with over the process. So I just want to thank you guys for that opportunity to work with me and to give it a voice, today, to say, hey, mentoring works in our community. We need more mentors in these schools. We need more mentors in our community centers. We need more mentors to be with young men, not just on one-on-one, but group mentoring is more important. We need group mentoring, school-identified mentoring.
I have to say, he's an amazing partner. Me and him have a beautiful video from last year where he was doing some mentor work with some students, and he enlightened them about elections and had them participating. We're going out to remind people to vote. And me and him decided to do a video of the kids and ask them questions about elections and voting. And we had some unique responses from the
Yes,
we had some unique responses.
Original
That you could tell what level their parents were in teaching them on elections. That's where we knew that it's very important for us to get out there and teach people about elections, because you had some unique responses like, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah. So Ralph has been doing some amazing work for the last 20 years in the city. And I commend him for all the work that he's doing. And he's touching those um ages, and they're not even like 14, 15. And some of them are like 10, 11, 12, and whole households where it's not just young men. He helps with the sisters and cousins and all.
We had them all out.
Yeah.
It's important that you get it. Once people see the hope, in others, and that not, you got to remember you live in a city where, it's transportation for a young man. Sometimes the only transportation out of here is a paddy wagon. That's the only way you're going to give them an opportunity to see the country outside of this community. And that's sad. And when you come to the reality that you spend more money on those types of resources than you do on the resources that, what a van would do just for one school. Man, every weekend adventure you can go, you camping into the Dells. I got groups every summer going on boats. And to be able to do that is you have to be able to believe that. You have to be able to see that. And then once you see, hey, we could do that. You see that stuff on Facebook, everybody want to emulate stuff. Emulate stuff that's going to make these young men men. Teach them how to be responsible, how to work together, how to play together, how to live together, how to thrive together and travel together. That's what all groups of people do. Whatever you work, wherever you go, you have to work on a team. Teams win.
To that point, I heard you. You see, I'm multitasking, y'all. I threw my headphones off, and then with you to say 20 years, Ralph has been in the game. That's the long game. You got strong game and you got long game. And when I go to a lot of these meetings where they want to know about the kids or what about the kids, I remember during COVID or during the uptick in violence during COVID, they had these Zoom meetings. Grab the kids. We want to hear from the kids. And if you could speak and seem influential, they would grab you. And the poet is Janiyah, who, she calls Va Mays Uncle Va. You know Janiyah if you deal with Va Mays.
Yeah.
She said something. It was a group. It was about 50, 60 organizations and groups. I'm talking city departments, talking groups, not just grassroots, but groups on the Zoom. And she said, you adults, y'all are cool. Y'all come through. And y'all come through strong. But then you leave. And you're not consistent. So in mentoring is a matter of consistency. I really wanted to ask you, as a mentor for over 20 years, how many folks do you have that check in with you from 20 years ago? Like,
many on Facebook. The best part about seeing young people, not just the young men, but young people, you get to see them get married, have kids, get out of the city, never go to jail. Never go to jail. And I mean, yes, you do have many of them. I don't want to even, but I'm here about the positive. I want to show you the positive. I can tell you right now, I can mention a couple of them. They'll call in and be like, man, listen, I'm going to tell you what we did. Because you know what Ralph did? They'll say, my name is Ralph. You know what Ralph did? It's a changing their trajectory. And the only way you do that is exposing them to people like yourself. When we were able to do a season with you and expose them to everybody who's doing different stuff. You might not have, I don't have all the resources. No one of us do, but we have enough resources that we can use that resource while we have it, not to pay somebody and this and that. I'm using mine for you because that's why I'm getting paid to do this. When you start from that 20 years ago, I started as the director of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So when I did that, I learned how to fundraise. I learned how to pay for everything, every camp, every dollar, every meal. And if you learn how to do that outside of begging somebody for a foundation grant, then you can be a little bit productive. But you get what I'm saying? So you got to have your own strategy, and you got to have a strategy in which okay, I'm talking business now, but you get what I'm saying? It really is. Because not every time I get funding from, you would think if I would show you half of the stuff, you would be like, what the hell? Why ain't you getting more money to do that? It's you're putting your money where your mouth is. You're not putting your money where your heart is, because if you did, you're talking about how to save these kids. Why don't you give more money to these type of programs in the schools? Not people just like me are out here doing the same stuff. We don't just you making it hard for us to get the same dollars that you get easily. Once one of those kids gets in one of those vehicles and they go outside of the community, you know what happens? They get $100,000 just to take care of the little kid that you can get $10,000 for him and his 10 friends, okay?
And that's a solid point because there are a lot of folks, grassroots folks listening right now. That was a great testimony. Because I even have some conversations with some of my people who are on a grander scale. You know, people who, you know, they tend to not even realize they're doing that because then there's certain youth that don't want to dress up. That don't, you know, you intimidate.
But if y'all knew how many youth, like he said, that never leave the city, never leave the blocks that they're on, besides going to school in their neighborhood, I work with so many that when we took them outside of Milwaukee, they didn't even know what to do. They were tripping. Like,
I want to give you an example of the kids that were on my block that were the grandchildren of a lady on the block. And, you know, they start calling them the Keanians. They were my little homies, three brothers. And one day in the summer, I decided, this was pre-COVID, I decided to walk with them. The walk was my route that I used to go from my parents' crib to get to the old neighborhood, but it was reversed. We walked from 11th and Keith, you know, past Agassiz. We walked down Green Bay. We got to Lincoln Park. And they said, man, we far from home. and then we got to Lincoln Park. They said, this is where we play football at. So then we got to Hampton, and they're like, man, it feel like we out of town. You know, my little homies, you know how the geese are out there? Oh, they cornered the geese. They chased they what do they call it? Corral the geese, like you corral horses. They got them all in the soccer nets. And then we got to Villard, and they were like, whoa, man, we really out, where we at? So then we went towards Northline. We went west to, my parents stay a block from Northline. It smelled different over here. It smelled like barbecue and grass and dryer sheets. Mind you, we stayed near the freeway.
Right.
So once again, that exposure, they had never took a walk.
Yeah.
Like we would walk every day from school. So exposure, like Ralph said. Now you gave a great business tip, whether you know it or not, about fundraising. Instead of getting mad at folks and begging and acting like somebody owe you something, when if you do the work, you will attract the money. Work on fundraising. But you also said something about the positivity. And I got a lot of people that listen that want to work as mentors. So, you know, when you talk about the positive, but let's also talk about the resiliency and the endurance as a mentor. Because I know all these kids, it wasn't always sweet 24/7. Sometimes you got to walk away. Sometimes you got to chase. Can you like touch on that for a moment?
I think, yeah. I think, you know, when you...
This is 20 years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think the most important part is you got to remember you. Remember you. The reason I got into this, like I said, if you didn't get that part, I was locked up from 13 to 19. I was in a group home for 3.5 years with all boys. And in that process, I learned how to take care of myself. I never had a toothbrush, toothpaste, and any of that stuff in Philadelphia where I grew up. So when I had those things, when I realized as a teenager that those things were important, I knew that kids, when you go through that process, when you come from the type of environments young kids come from in the inner city, you don't have a lot of things like most people think you should have. And when you can accept them and at the same time guide them through that process, I think it gives you a better opportunity to embrace that kid, because that kid's, you know, he's coming rough. You know, it's just like pit bulls, man. And nobody wants to take a pit bull. You know, everybody's like, these are pretty little babies, but
They're so the sweetest, don't
yeah, when they're little babies, they look good, brother. But I guarantee you, when they start biting and you start when they get a little rough around the edges, it takes a person who understands how that works and how, you know, you got to get them through that process. You can't take them to the dog pound and give them up. You can't think that the censor is going to do the job. You can't think that your teacher is going to do the job. You got to need somebody that's going to do that job, brother, because you didn't do a good job because you didn't take care of them in that process, you know.
It's some of the pit bulls are the most, some of the
Exactly.
coolest dogs in the world and friendliest when they brought up that.
Exactly.
Well,
But if you leave them alone, and if you leave them alone too long, you come home, you ain't going to have much left over.
Or if you're slapping them around.
Oh, it's over. And so, like I was saying, kids are the same way, you know. And if you can use that analogy and say, hey, man, these kids are just like dogs that everybody has a stigma about. It's hard to work with inner city young black males. It really is. It really is, because they go through different seasons of life, and sometimes they don't want the vice. They don't always trust because they don't know how long you're going to be in their life. They don't know how long how long is this season just for this basketball season or football. It's not about basketball or football for mentoring. It's more about, it's about you're going to learn this in this season of life. If it's K4 through 5, I'm going to do wellness education. And you're going to have you're going to have lunch with a mentor. We're going to bring in mentors. We're going to have the kids that are a little older come in and speak to you. And they're going to show you when they were little that they did the same thing. But you got to have a process. And then when those kids get to the second level, now those are the ones teaching the fitness class. And then when they get to go to all these events that are not, publicized by everybody, but you still are allowed to go as a kid. Hey, let's go to the Badger game. What? We're going to the Badger game. Every game we go to. Every game. And the reason why, because I want people to see what it looks like to have young people around them that actually, hey, look, I want to be exposed to the same type. I want to see this stuff.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And the trust factor of a lot of these kids in our community, they're, like Rouse said, they're used to somebody coming in their life just to do something or have them do something, and then they walk away. They don't care about their everyday struggle. So, and I have watched him work with kids from young ages, and they're young men now, and they love and respect Ralph because they know he's there for the long term. When they call him, he's going to be there. And it's just amazing how I see how he interacts with these kids, because they're anywhere from 12 to 15, 16, 17. And he can say, straighten up, turn around, do this, do that. What are you doing? You know how to act. You know what you're supposed to be doing. We're going to do this. We're going to take a picture. Straighten up it. And they'll turn right around and be like, okay. And most kids, because I work with them, if you don't have, if they don't have a level of respect for you,
That's it.
They're not going to pay you attention. They'll look at you like, lady, you can stop talking to me. I'm finna do this. And I'm talking about males and females that he literally commands respect from. And it's just some amazing work and I was so happy that he called me the other day and we talked, and I said, yeah, I want you to come in Monday and highlight the amazing work you do in the community, because you, Ralph, you do some amazing work. And the most amazing part about it is he takes these kids from out of Milwaukee, other places, so that they can see it's something outside of here. Everything ain't about these 5 blocks that you're on. And Keon said something amazing when he walked the kids to just a different neighborhood, and they didn't even realize, like, man, I ain't never, because a lot of these kids are subject to the 4 corners that they're on. That's all they know.
It's about making that lasting change in people's lives, right? And, you talked about a little bit about some of those kids that never went to jail, that never had to experience those things because of these programs. So, it's making lasting change not only in their lives, but in their children's lives and in their children's lives. So making that lasting change, not just I'm here for now and I'm dipping out after this program's over, after this, after this year, making those lasting changes in people's lives has to be really, really beneficial to what you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me too. I appreciate it.
No problem. So tell us, what's in the works for you?
So this year, I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Obviously, I know there's a lot of campaigns. My guys like canvassing, so we get as many canvassing opportunities as we can.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of canvassing.
And so I'm up in Madison. I got teams that'll be in Madison, working in Madison.
Great.
For a while. I got the Dells. Hopefully, we'll do some stuff. But no, I most of the stuff I usually publicize within, just to let my kids get the first, opportunity to be in. As you can see, I don't really talk about what I do. I just do what I do. And then at the end of the day, I'll show you what I did. And then it's almost like, it's kind of like my partners know what I do, and that's all. And the only reason I do it that way, because I want to get it done the way that, that each grant or each season comes. But this season, I'm going to tell you what this season is. This season is positive images of what it looks like to work with inner city Milwaukee youth. And all the images that I'm going to put out there through whatever campaign, wherever we're at, is going to show that work and why that work is important, why we need more of that work. Not that I want to do it all, but I can help teach others how to do that. And that's what this is about. It's teaching others how to be able to have the patience, have the willpower, and have the know how to be able to go and, spend the time that you're going to have to spend with, the kids that you're trying to save. Because, at the end of the day, they got to believe that what you're doing and the time that you're spending with them is going to impact their life. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say the amazing work that he does. He only, when I first met him as a partner, he only explained to me that he knew Reggie White was his mentor, and he gave him the momentum to mentor other children. He didn't explain all that he do, and I started little piece by piece. I'll call him for something because he said he worked with youth in Milwaukee. So I'll call him for something. He said, "Oh well, from Thursday to Sunday, I'm in Madison or Wisconsin Dells or out of Milwaukee with the kids. I take them out of Milwaukee so they can see other things besides Milwaukee." I'm like, "Oh wow!" And I said, "How do you do that?" He said, "I have my own transport van," and he said, "And we budget on our meals and everything, and we get fundraising for our resorts and stays wherever we're going. But I want the kids to see more than just Milwaukee, and not a time. Every weekend he has a group, and he's taking them out of Milwaukee to see." And that, Ralph, you don't know how amazing that is to me, because I know from working with a lot of kids in Milwaukee, and you see Keon's story, just to take them a couple of blocks west, they didn't even realize that they're out of their neighborhood, because a lot of these kids don't. All they see is these blocks right in whatever neighborhood they in. That's what they're used to. If it's a library, if it's a store, all that, there is like a circle. They going to just them four corners, and that's all they see. So to have mentors like you that actually take them out of the community and show them that it's more than just Milwaukee, some amazing work. That is.
Thank you.
That is.
Thank you very much.
Now, if somebody wanted to help get involved in your organization or wanted to donate some money or anything to help your cause out, how could they go about doing that?
Go to Mentor Clubs of America. You got a website, it's Mentor Clubs of America, mccasports.org. And you can find out all the stuff about what we're, and then on the bottom, we got a GoFundMe page. We've had it up for 10 years and we only raised $12,000. But you know what? It's okay. It's the process of getting people out there to understand that, you know what? Now, 10 years later, look at what we've done, and we've continued to track that. It's important that you let people see every year what you do, okay? And so to be able to come and say, hey, look, this is what we did last year, and it helps them visualize the next season with the kids that you're going to have, you know what I mean? Because most of these kids are here for 3, 4, 5 years or more. And so it's pretty cool, man. It really is. And so I just, mccasports.org is where you go. My phone number, 414.
Oh, that's slow again for him.
mccasports.org.
Y'all remember that, mccasports.org. You want to get your children involved, please go to that website, and Ralph does amazing work, and we're going to be a supporter of you always for the amazing work you do in the community. So you always got a friend in us that's going to help you support to do the things that's very necessary in the community. And that's mentoring and being a mentor for our youth, because our youth need that.
Amen.
So that's, as you know, I have my youth program. That's a passion of ours that me and you are kindred spirits with, is our youth. We need to be there supportive of them. And we need to start realizing that everybody don't have that perfect 2-family home. And they don't have that mom and that dad that care about us.
Right.
Some kids don't have a mom. Everybody keep thinking, oh, when you have a kid, and their mom is there, and even if their dad ain't. No, some kids don't even have a mom.
Right.
And they need somebody to be there to say, I'm going to show up for you no matter what.
That's right.
And that's what I like about you, Ralph, is you show up for them no matter what.
Thank
Yeah, Ralphie, baby.
you.
I look forward to checking in with you this summer, man. And
Yes, sir.
either experiencing it or, maybe part.
Yeah.
I would love for you
We
to
hard
partner
with
with them.
ball camp, and we do Atkinson Park.
Yeah,
I
man.
want-
Dells, man. I take you up to the Dells, man. We'll get it. I'm gonna tell you right now. This is what you got them. We're gonna go to the Dells and have a camp in the Dells, and we'll go fishing and hang out and get the pontoons. That's what we.
I was going to say I wanted to take the initial fishing at Madison to see who go real.
So what? Well, listen. That's when you name it up to me, and I was showing you that we could go right there, and I got a spot to teach them all how to fish.
Yeah, but you know why I say Madison first on the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you get to weed out who's going.
Well, we don't want to do it that way. There we go.
No, wait a minute.
We went them.
So I live in the area that I work.
Mm-hmm.
So it may not that you don't want to take that time,
Yes.
but you need to know where to put them. Some people need to get some more behavioral control.
Oh, okay. I was hold on. Okay, let's do a better. Let's do a better process here. Let's just say, hey, we're gonna start out 3 weeks before the camp. So we're gonna go over to the hall. We're gonna see when you guys and learn how to fish here, and then we might take you to the Dells if you can make it.
Right.
Okay, so I got it.
There we go. Because everybody ain't going with me.
Is it? Oh, dang. That's why we got banned. We did the, that's what, there's a difference. He said,
I don't know what you're doing, but I'm done. I'll just let go from yourself.
with that.
Here's a disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't work with all of us.
Zach Malone comes from the Robin Harris Bernie Mac School of Daycare.
Daycare, heck yeah. Hey,
Learning that.
anyways, kid.
Listen here.
Listen to that, jumping on my couch.
Join us February 16th at 5 at the Bavarian Beer House for our BA Voice Gala. Join us for a spectacular night as we gather to highlight the efforts and future of our community. Visit wisconsinvoices.org to learn more.
Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
Hey, we get men to talking about fishing. They
Yeah.
on and on.
We done figured out we're going to leave kids first. We going this week.
We're going to have a men's retreat. We're going to get ready for the kids that we're going to work with this summer.
That's a good men's retreat.
We need help too.
Yes, y'all need a, as you say, a refresher, huh? But I want to mention a few things, especially about our gala. Please, if you haven't, go to wisconsinvoices.org. Register for your ticket to our gala, which will be February 16th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Bavarian Beer House. So please come and join us. We're going to have fun. We love loving on our community, and we want our community to come out and celebrate with us. So please get your tickets to the gala, and you can go to our website at wisconsinvoice.org to get your tickets to the gala.
And the money that we raise through that goes directly back into the community. Most of that goes right back into the community to help these awesome programs like, we like today.
Yeah.
And like we've heard from, for the last couple of weeks. So it's really important, show up, help support your community, help support Wisconsin Voices and all the great work our partners are doing as well.
Yeah, because that's why we're continuing to have our partners on, because they are testament that we do fund them and give back to the projects that they're working on, because that's what it's about. Every voice in the community is important. So that's why we made the show Be a Voice, because we want to hopefully have our whole community stand up and be a voice.
Amen.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org. Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice.